Smell. Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying let's give this a go, innit? Yeah, well. What? Yeah, but that's why I'm saying, like, let's just have a little chill out on this, innit? Because otherwise we're both going to be having nightmares, man. Isn't it? Bullying, I'm just as scared as you are, dude. A way to expose me as well, man. Turn the light off. Turn the light off. There we go, that's better. Let's get the radio on. Where am I? West. No. Where am I? Upton. Take Upton to Easton. Is that so? Easy Flappers. Huh? Any parts with beds? That's what I'm saying. Chill out on this, man. Cause oh no, I'm gonna lose my bag of cement. Ow! Distracts me. Need to get duct tape. Any parts with beds? No, I know the next part of that game. You're sort of sat around the table watching everyone eat. Sort of introduces you to his family. And then, if I remember, like I said, it's just basically a game of like cat and mouse. You know, he's can't. Yeah, I think that's the idea of the game, is that you're trying to escape after that point. Yeah, I can't fully remember what the game's about. I remember, in terms of like a horror game, it was quite effective because like a lot of it is, you know, you see him walking around, you've got to sneak past him, and then he sort of like chases you. It's quite yeah, it's the dude who knocks you out. He's like the main protagonist. But I don't fully he's not a good guy, is he? And he invited you to dinner. No, but they're not. He's not a good guy. But that's like that initial opening is like, I'm sure, the scariest point, because after that you start to get more ammo for your weapons. But it's yeah, that's the thing. I remember like when it came out, it was because what Resident Evil, what Mia? Yeah, I think. But I remember because this is what you've missed out, right? Is when Resident Evil come out with that. Most recent one they had was Resident Evil 6. People didn't really like jive with that. People didn't really enjoy it. I thought it was alright, but it was just, it turned into more of an action game. And people said it wasn't really scary anymore, which it wasn't, you know. And so they really up the ante, and that's kind of what they've gone with, as far as I can tell. They've kept that going with Resident Evil 8, which I haven't played yet. I've not played 1 second of it, so when you see me play that, that'll be my first time playing it at all. You know? So that's going to be just as new to you as it is to me. Yeah, they do they did massively, and I think Resident Evil 7 was like the first time it was sort of his own thing. As far as I'm aware, yeah. I think it's I think at the end it sort of links in very loosely. Right, let's take a job on. Where are we? We're in Easton at the minute, aren't we? I saw that, yeah. Do we head to Fishing Town or no? Where have we got to pick up from? We've got to go back up as well. I can't see it because that camera really covers it up. Yeah, you are right, I suppose. We had someone just comment just then. Yeah, but I couldn't read it. It said, Snowy Peak, $60. We're going to do that one. Huh? Just something like that. No, they can hear you probably through the mic. They'll hear you through this one. Here, I'll put. Already pick you up. Where we go pick up from? Pick up from the bar. Oh, the bar in Weston Suburbs. So that's kind of why I've got this game on here still. It's just so chilled out compared to like, especially when you're bent up like those games, so Resident Evil, Silent Hill, like Leo, he said, I'm playing horror games. I hate it. It stresses me out. Like, it wigs me out. I just don't see why you would want to stress yourself out. Oh, we got that. Yeah, I know. I get it. Yeah, that's the thing with horror games. Like, of all the emotions that you can feel, people choose horror, like fear. Why would you want to feel that? Man, fear is not a good thing. No, I choose it because it's funny. Silent Hill, I don't know what possessed me by that game. Something in me went. So I think Silent Hill was doing a very good job of like keeping the suspense going. Does that make sense? Like, even though we've seen a lot of the same monsters, it's introducing new ones at the right time. It's introducing new gameplay mechanics. Yeah, exactly that. As soon as you think you've got a handle on what to expect, switches it up on you. Which is where you've constantly got that thing like the bit we're on now. When you start playing it, you just hear that breathing from like a gas mask or whatever it is. That's like that in itself is like freaky. And it's like you haven't. All that is just the sound of somebody breathing, and yet it's enough to make you go, I don't want to mess with that. You know what I mean? Which is where it's like very well crafted. Resident Evil 7, I find that you've got to understand that game come out like 12 years ago. Like, the gaming space was a bit different. I think it came out in 2014. I'm sure it did. No, they've only gone up to, I think they've got 9. Requiem just done out. But what Resident Evil tends to do is they, like Resident Evil has been going since like the mid-90s. Yeah. 1990s. Not mid-1900s. The mid-1990s, yeah. And that was Resident Evil. Then they had 2 and 3, and then 0 and 4. But what they've done in between that is they've just put like a load of But then in between that, they like there's one which I had on PS2, and it's known as being like overly difficult. It's called Code Veronica. Now I had that on PS2, and it was because old Resident Evil. That's the thing. That's why people wanted it to be scarier. You know, when you played through the original Resident Evil, like I got the original Director's Cut PS1 collection, and when you play that. The thing that's taught me in Silent Hill, like to conserve ammo, fight with your melee weapons if you can avoid and try to, is because you were given bullets. It wasn't enough ammo and health to defeat all the enemies, so you would have to like run past them. It went beyond horror. It was actually survival horror. Spider Hunter. It was survival horror. Now what that meant was part of the horror of the game was just trying to stay alive. And it was like that through Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then Resident Evil 4, because people then, as always, you keep doing the same thing over and over. Eventually you get fed up with it. Which is kind of what happened, unfortunately. So then Resident Evil 4 come along, and people loved that, and that was much more action game. I've got that one as well. That's not necessarily scary. It's not scary. It's nowhere near as scary as 7. It's more of an action game. You know, you get enough weapons and ammo to play the game and to shoot everything in sight. And it was one of the first games I remember being able to one of the first games I remember being able to go to fishing tank, easy definitely. We're right side of it, I think. That's definitely there. Where you could play through it multiple times and like you would unlock new weapons. So by the end of it, you're dressed up as a mafia member with like Tommy guns and stuff. So it is it's by far more of an action game. But then the trouble is I got the remake when it came out a few years ago. You know, it's one of the only games I've ever pre-ordered, right? And it came like 3 days late. I pre-ordered that so I could play it on the day. I was so set up for it. It was due to come out on a Friday. I pre-ordered it, and next thing you know, it's like 3 days late. It's Sunday by the time I'm playing it. It's like that. But again, because when Resident Evil 4 came out, there wasn't anything like it. You know? It was on the PS2. You played that, and you were playing it for the very first time. Whereas you can never recapture that feeling. You know, a lot of things have been done now, which is where you get games like this. You know, where they actually, and what you'll find is most of the people playing this will be people my age and older. Yeah, because, well, I was just going to say, what you have is you have people my age, sort of like in their 30s plus, who remember playing these games. You got to remember, honestly, I remember looking at driving games going, oh, look at that, the wheels are moving. So realistic. Genuinely, because it was just, that was what gaming was back then. You know, it wasn't about, I mean, it's always been about graphics, because it was always the thing, but I think graphically and gameplay wise, both things have been done now. You know, the newest thing to hit the scene, because they tried like 3D like 20 years ago now, probably. Yeah. And 3D never really took off because it's quite expensive and you have to wear these like special glasses. duct tape your boxes. But you know, the newest thing is VR. Now I know, like, and handheld games as well, like having high quality handheld gaming. But VR is the newest thing. But the trouble is with VR, it's not something that, like, when you're in the mood to play VR, and if you've got the setup for it, then that's like fantastic. But you know, when you're like, a VR game is a VR game at the end of the day. So what you're gonna have is, and it's a good place to be, is you've got the whole of like history to cherry pick from. So I know this is known as like not quite a demake, but it's like retro inspired. So what some people do now is they take modern games and they'll make it in like a PS1 style. But yeah, so what you'll find is either people in their 30s like me or older, or then it would be like young kids who've never had anything like this. Like, although don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people are just going to be, they'll play something like this and they'll say, what a load of rubbish. You know, like you're looking. I'm sure if I went, the thing is what the way they can get you is by just having this style of graphics. You know, this style of graphics is, that's the long and short of it. Now, unless you've got that memory, which I have of playing games like this, and it takes you back to a certain feeling where it was just like, it's a much more basic time, you know. Even this is far more advanced than anything you would have had on the PS1. Do you know what I mean? Or it seems to be anyway. Like they've done it well, but I know this is the other thing, you can't quite capture that magic. Where have I got to go from here? Damn, I've just come out of this tunnel here. Yeah, I can go past Cliff and go left. So I know that they're doing this on purpose, whereas back in the PS1 days, it was like literally that was all they could do. And I remember playing these games and I would look at the scenery. I mean, this game, obviously, they've done it, they've made everything white. There's very little going on. But if you look at the original Spider-Man, it's Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro on PlayStation 1. I would look in the distance at these weird like houses that were all like blocking the background, you know, like what's going on over there. You had to fill it in with your imagination. You know, so this caught my eye, I don't know why, I saw it on PlayStationTrophies.org. They said, oh, there's a PS1 inspired game coming out. And for some reason I looked at it and I was like, I need that in my life. You know? I am happy, really happy that I bought it. You know? It is good, like now, that sort of anxiousness and anxiety you were feeling from playing Resident Evil, that's gone now. Well, yeah, mate, that damn. The old one. Yeah, despite that. Yeah, well that's the thing, you know. Games either, they make you feel powerful or they make you feel helpless, that's how they get you. This just makes me go, I haven't got to worry about anything trying to hurt me. It's a thoroughly nice, pleasant game. Yeah, let's stick with this. Any more duct tape, dude? No, because I found a disc in a pawn shop. Back to life. Pawn shop. P-A-W-N. Let's take one more job on. What? What a bad thing. Pawn. What? What is that? You know what that is. You're 13. That video you sent your mother earlier, you know that. Unacceptable. Where have I got to pick up from? Bar. What? It's just a damn true. But like this, the wind's blowing outside, you know, it's not snowing. Yeah. That's alright, just make one more delivery. Make one more delivery and I'll sort it out, it's better. Fully though, are you? people who like to be alone. Someone wants to imagine a world where you can actually drive around without getting stuck in traffic. Even if I do drive through every bit of stuff I've ever made. Right, we'll go straight to win, and that was nice. Easy delivery. Code. Was that your back? Your issue. Back. Yeah? That's your bloody back as well. Just come out and twisted it out. Starting to get Resident Evil 7 on your ass. You're getting Resident Evil 7 on your ass. Come on, let's make our last delivery. Well, this has been Sahoy Radio, FM 91.1, wishing you and everyone out there a good night. We hope you've enjoyed your time with Easy Delivery Co. And remember, tune in next time for more Easy Delivering. Oh yeah. Signing off.